We shall ask the ushers now to bring the basket as we take the novena collection. For the past 9 days, we have been taking this offering, and that is why we are taking it this evening as well. We thank you all for your generosity towards this process. Our intention for this celebration is the success of the beatification process. To know how far we have gone, I have the pleasure to invite Very Reverend Father Matthew Yitiere, the Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Tamale, who is part of this team of the beatification process of the servant of God, to update us and give us the state of the beatification process of the servant of God, Cardinal Peter Dery. Shall we welcome him with a round of applause?
Your Grace, Most Reverend Philip Name, Metropolitan Archbishop of Tamale, who doubles as the President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference. My Lord Bishop, Most Reverend Peter Paul Anchierku Yelezume, Bishop of Damango Diocese, Most Reverend Alfred Agenta, Bishop of Novrungo Bolgatanga Diocese, Most Reverend Richard Bawor, Bishop of the Diocese of Wa, members of Cardinal Dery Foundation, patrons of Cardinal Dery Foundation, the sons and daughters of Cardinal Dery, TEVCON executives, my brother priests present, religious men and women, the family members of Cardinal Dery Poreku, delegates from the various dioceses in the Tamale province, invited guests who have come from far and near, Accra, Kumasi, Brona-Hafu, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with much joy that I stand here this evening on behalf of the Archbishop of Tamale and on behalf of the Tribunal for the Beatification and Canonization of Peter Cardinal Dery to give you an account of our stewardship of the work entrusted to us by the Archbishop Most Reverend Philip Name the Archbishop Petitioner of this course. I don't want to take for granted that we all understand what this whole business of the beatification is about. Permit me, therefore, throw some light on it. This will help us understand the work of the tribunal and what we have done so far. Every Christian is called to holiness by virtue of his or her baptism. The beatification process is a reminder that in this call there are some who have lived their lives in such a heroic and exemplary way that we need to focus on them. Mother Church has always preserved the memories of those sons and daughters of hers who in life, in death, and even after death have enjoyed a reputation of holiness by living all the Christian virtues like faith, hope, charity, love, etc., and living these very faithfully in a heroic manner. The Roman pontiffs down through the ages saw to the promulgation of adequate norms to aid us in reaching the truth in these matters of the Church. In his encyclical letter, Divinus Perfectionis Magister, His Holiness Pope John Paul II on the 25th of January 1983 established, among other things, the procedure for diocesan inquiries, or call them interviews, to be conducted by the bishops with a view towards the beatification and canonization of servants of God. This involves inquiries about life, the virtues and reputation of holiness, and of intercessory power, and alleged miracles attributed to the intercession of the servant of God who is being proposed to be made a saint. And a typical example is our father, the servant of God, Peter Cardinal Dery. Some norms are observed in this regard in diocesan inquiries for the course of beatification and canonization. First of all, it deals with the instructions of diocesan inquiries that regard heroic virtues of martyrdom of the servant of God. Before deciding to initiate a course, the bishop will have to verify some facts that will determine his decision. After having decided to initiate a course, he will begin the real and actual inquiries by ordering and gathering the documentary proofs of the course. If no insurmountable difficulties are revealed, he will proceed to hear witnesses and finally to close the inquiries and send the acts of the congregation for the course of saints, where the Roman phase of the course will begin. That is, the phase of the steady and definitive judgment of the course itself. Beginning of the process. The process of documenting the life and virtues of a holy man or a woman begins 5 years after death. This waiting period ensures that the person proposed for sainthood has an enduring reputation for sanctity among the faithful. The number 5 years can, however, be reduced or waived altogether by the Holy Father. When a person dies who has fame or sanctity or fame of martyrdom, the bishop of the diocese usually initiates the investigation. One element is whether any special favor or miracle has been granted through this candidate saint's intercession. The church will also investigate the candidate's writings to see if they possess purity of doctrine. That is to say, whether his writings are free from heretical statements and major errors. All of this information is gathered and then a faithful copy, duly authenticated and sealed and submitted to the Congregation for the Cause of Saints in Rome. Once the cause is accepted by the congregation, further investigation is conducted. If the candidate was a martyr, the congregation determines whether he died for the faith and truly offered his life in a sacrifice of love for Christ and the church. In other cases, the congregation examines to see if the candidate was motivated by a profound charity towards his neighbor and practiced the virtues in an exemplary manner and with heroism. Throughout this investigation, the general promoter of faith, call him the devil's advocate, raises objections and doubts which must be resolved by the tribunal and other officials. And once a candidate is declared to have lived life with heroic virtues, he may be declared venerable. In other words, a candidate to the sainthood is declared venerable after the investigations presented has been accepted by the Holy Father or the Pope. Now the next step is beatification. A martyr may be beatified and declared blessed by virtue of martyrdom itself. Otherwise, the candidate must be credited with a miracle. In verifying the miracle, the church looks at whether God truly performed a miracle and whether the miracle was in response to the intercession of the candidate saints. This has come out very clearly to us in our various dioceses, that anyone who feels that he has been healed, or anyone who knows about a miracle that he believes firmly that is by our Father that it has come about, please don't hesitate to come to the lawful authorities. Now, once beatified, the candidate saint may be venerated, but with restrictions to a city, to a diocese, a region, or a religious family. Accordingly, the Pope would authorize special prayer, Mass or prayer divine office honoring the blessed. After beatification, another miracle is needed for the canonization and the formal declaration of sainthood. After the 5 years have concluded, or earlier, if all or some of the period is weighed, the bishop of the diocese or any member of the people of God or group of faithful recognized by ecclesiastical authority in which the individual died can petition the Holy See to allow the beginning of the cause for the beatification and canonization. If there is no objection by the Roman authorities, the Roman dicasteries, in particular the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, the permission or the nihil obstat is communicated to the initiating bishop. The Catholic whose cause of beatification and canonization has been initiated is now called servant of God. In our case, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Tamale, who is doubling as president of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, Most Reverend Philip Name, is the petitioner of the cause of the beatification and canonization of our Father, Peter Cardinal Dery. And now the Diocesan Tribunal. We can recall on the 15th June 2013, the local church in Ghana, and especially the local church of the Tamale province, led by the Metropolitan Archbishop of Tamale, Most Reverend Philip Name, officially launched the beatification process of our Father. we have progressed successfully to the next stage, which was the official inauguration of the beatification and the canonization process. This also came on successfully on the 9th of May 2015 in the Our Lady of Annunciation Cathedral in a solemn mass presided over by His Excellency Jean-Marie Spike, the then Apostolic Nuncio to Ghana. Among other dignitaries at the celebration was the postulator of the cause of beatification of our Father in the person of Dr. Waldry Hilgeman, a Vatican official who came all the way from Rome for that ceremony. It was during this fateful mass that the tribunal was officially inaugurated. As already mentioned earlier, to promote the cause, testimonies must be gathered about the life and virtues of our Father. Also, his public and private writings must be collected and examined. This documentary phase of the process has taken us 4 years and is yet to be concluded by the tribunal and the Historical Commission. And the ultimate decision of the Archbishop that the heroic virtues of the servant of God, Peter Cardinal Dery, have or have not been demonstrated. He will now send the result along with the bound volumes of documents, call them Acts, to the Congregation for the Cause of Saints. Now, by means of a decree, the Archbishop Petitioner nominated officials of the Diocesan Tribunal responsible for this inquiry. This was done in Tamale at the official inauguration of the beatification and canonization on the 9th of May 2015. And the officials are the following: the Episcopal delegates. This is my humble self, the Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Tamale. The promoter of justice, Very Reverend Father Theodolos Tanti, who is Chancellor of the Diocese of Damango. The former notary, Reverend Father Remedios Siensek, he worked with us for a while and received an appointment to work in Rome, and he left. In his stead, the Archbishop elected a very eminent notary in the person of Very Reverend Father Hilary Pobayid, who is Chancellor of the Tamale Archdiocese. We also have the adjunct notary in the person of Dame Agnes Ganda, who is a parishioner in St. Peter and Paul Parish and works in the Archdiocese of Tamale. Other officials included the Historical Commission, and they are Very Reverend Father Nicholas Apetebo, Damango Diocese, Reverend Father Flavian E. Palana, the Archdiocese of Tamale, and Sir Benedict Asro, who is our own son but working in Accra. We have also the postulators and vice postulators. The first is Dr. Waldry Hilgeman, who resides in Rome. The second, Reverend Brother Cruz. He is on mission in Kenya. And then our own Father, Reverend Monsignor Father Edward Kunkre. Reverend Monsignor Edward Kunkre, who has his office here in Tamale, but shuttles between Tamale and Wa. We have theological censors. These are two members who by law are not supposed to be known, so I don't know them. But I believe that they know themselves and they're doing their work well. The tribunal has so far interrogated 78 witnesses in 182 sessions throughout the whole country. We have interviewed witnesses in Tamale Archdiocese, in Yendi Diocese, in Nobrongo Bolgatanga Diocese, Damango Diocese, and Wa Diocese. We have also interviewed all bishops in the Tamale province, including our two bishops emeriti, and a total of 6 bishops in our province. We have visited and interviewed witnesses in Kumasi Archdiocese, including Archbishop Sapong, who is Archbishop Emeritus of Kumasi. From there, we moved to Sefioso and interviewed Bishop Joseph Essien, who is Bishop of Wioso. Then we moved to Koforidua Diocese and interviewed Bishop Joseph Afrifa, Bishop of Koforidua Diocese. We also interviewed Bishop Emeritus Francis Lodonu and Monsignor Hilary Seno in the whole diocese. We ended up finally in the Archdiocese of Accra. We had earlier on interviewed Archbishop Pamabokol when we went for the relaunch of the beatification process at the St. Kizito Parish in Nima. This was on the 29th of June 2016. In our recent visit to Accra, we interviewed 4 witnesses in 9 days, from the 8th to the 17th of May 2019. Most of the witnesses we interviewed took 1.5 days to complete their interview, with just 1 or 2 hours for lunch breaks, starting each day at 9 a.m. and ending at 6 p.m. Only 1 or 2 witnesses completed their interview in 1 day, in which case we worked from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. to finish. Ordinarily, beloved, this task of the tribunal should have been extremely difficult, if not impossible, to carry out. But we felt a divine assistance leading us, both the tribunal members and the witnesses. The end of the work is at sight, but we are not there yet. I want to acknowledge thankfully the generosity that all dioceses showed us as we went round for the interrogation. All bishops offered us accommodation and fed us from their resources. In a word, all exhibited the love and care of Cardinal Dery in the way they received us. My Lord Bishops, may God bless you and replenish what you have spent on us. Now a bit on the cost element of the process. When we received the first time the postulator from Rome, Dr. Waldry Hilgeman, he told us that the estimated cost for the whole process will be 220,000 euros. The equivalent of this in Ghana cedis is 1,242,450. Again, 22,000 euros in the equivalent of Ghana cedis 1,242,450. The Ghana face alone will cost 120,000 euros. The cedi equivalent is 677,700 cedis, while the Roman face will cost 100,000 euros, of which the cedi equivalent is 564,750. Why is there the need for such a huge amount of money to be collected to beatify one person? This has been a major question, I am sure, to the Archbishop and to those of us who have been out there speaking on behalf of the rest of you. I met a friend in the Republic of Ireland and gave him the message, and this was a question he asked me. That you people are hungry, you are looking for food, which is a priority. And I said, yes. We are not only hungry physically, we are also hungry spiritually. And we need a spiritual father who will help us take care of our spiritual needs. So, there is a need, beloved. If we speak about a tribunal, we needed laptops, printers, stationery to set up the office. The tribunal sittings I have just described briefly, it takes so many hours to interview one person. The work is like 2-3 days combined in one day. And each of the tribunal members, though not paid and though excited to do the work, ordinarily we should be given an allowance. I just spoke about accommodation and feeding. We are fed and accommodated through the generosity of our fathers that we visited. Ordinarily, they should be reimbursed from the common purse that we have put together. We also have the Historical Commission, who gather the information and they go around everywhere to gather this information. Their T&T, their traveling expenses should be reimbursed. There is a medical expert who will cross-examine any miracle case, and as an expert, he is supposed to be paid. The postulators, the cost for the first and second postulators who come from Rome and Kenya respectively include their air tickets, feeding, accommodation, remuneration, etc., etc. The vice postulator, Reverend Monsignor Ebed Kunkre, who resides in Tamale off and on, should be paid. But at the moment, I don't think he's paid. In fact, I'm sure he's not paid. For now, his accommodation, feeding, remuneration is being taken care of by our father, the Archbishop of Tamale. He has a secretary for some time, and even now there is a need for secretarial work, and we all know it's difficult to do such work for gratis. So this person should be given something. The Archbishop's trips to Rome for the process normally should be paid by the process, but up till now, all the trips have been pre-funded. Let me say pre-funded because I hope that all that he has spent will be refunded. There will be another postulator for the course in Rome, for the Roman faith. But I think that we can maintain the one who came from Rome. But we can't be sure that his work will not be St. Vincent de Paul work. He will have to be paid, and paid well. There will be theological censors and 2 more cardinals who will sit on the work of our father, Peter Cardinal Dery. These will equally be paid. Let me also mention here that at the beginning of the process, 2 members of the tribunal, the promoter of justice and the former notary, Reverend Father Theodolos Tanti and Remigius Siensek, who came all the way from the Diocese of Damango, their transport to Tamale and back to Damango for the tribunal sittings have been paid so far by my Lord Bishop Peter Paul Anchier, Bishop of Damango. Bravo, my Lord Bishop Anchier. Correspondence. Every correspondent that comes from Rome is paid for. Even if they're the ones writing us, we pay for it. For example, the Nile Lobster that came from Rome cost 50 euros. Because of this, we need to continue our ongoing fundraising activities to meet the cost of the beatification of our Father. These ongoing activities should also be used as occasions to educate people about the process. We believe that Cardinal Dery is not the only possible candidate for sainthood in our country. So the more we educate ourselves about this process, the more we are prepared to handle yet another cause. We are therefore encouraging Catholics, spiritual sons and daughters of Cardinal Dery, patrons, and all who feel committed to give some standing orders and pay regularly certain amount to facilitate the process. I want to acknowledge and encourage those who already are doing so. Please know that your efforts will not go unrewarded. The role of prayer in this whole process. Beloved, prayer is very essential in this process. So we urge every diocese to continue to organize regular prayers for his beatification. It is prayer that will inspire and assist whichever officials in charge of the process to do their work and do it diligently. The more prominence we give to prayer in this process, the more we demonstrate the importance of holiness. So sons and daughters, and all and sundry, are called upon to continue to organize monthly and weekly prayers for the cause of the beatification process. May we not relax, beloved, after his centenary climax, today and tomorrow, because our Father is not made a saint yet. We are not yet there. The Archbishop, Most Reverend Philip Name, has received several calls from sons and daughters of Cardinal who live abroad. We like to mention the Catholic communities in Rome, in New York, and other places in the United States of America, and he will be traveling to these places, and there will be the need to buy tickets and to spend money. So permit me very briefly give you the summary of financial transactions thus far. I have already indicated that the projected amount for the course is 22,000 euros, and the city equivalent is 1,242,450 Ghana cedis only. $1,242,450 Ghana cedis only. The amount we have raised so far comes to 238,963.74 only. Expenses made so far comes to 55,648 Ghana cedis, 75 pesos only. Our available balance is 183,314.99 cedis. So the amount yet to be realized, the balance left for the Ghana phase plus the Roman phase, stand as 1,186,801.25 Ghana cedis. So if we look at the expenditure made so far, 55,648 cedis, we realize that is not realistic. It is on the low side simply because of the generosity of our bishops we visited, who didn't allow us to pay for accommodation and pay for food. If they hadn't accommodated and fed us, and if the tribunal officers were all given a pay for the long sittings, we would have spent over 100,000 Ghana cedis at this point. Beloved, this calls for more sacrifice in order that the cause may go through successfully. So let us all stand together as a family, united in our common goal, and work and pray and work for success in our endeavor. Let me just toy with a crazy idea. Granted that every Catholic in the province were to be charged just only 1 Ghana cedi or 2 Ghana cedis. And if we could extend this tax to our brothers, sisters, brothers and sisters in the other dioceses in the southern province, I'm very sure we would have made a few million cedis and just use a peanut for this one and reserve the rest for subsequent ones. It's a food for thought. I'm not asking, I have no power to ask that be done, but a crazy idea. Again, let us stand together, shoulder to shoulder, united in this effort, and we will get there. My conclusion. Your Grace, Most Reverend Philip Name, my Lord Bishops, sons and daughters, patrons, priests and religious, TEPCON executives, delegates from the provinces and beyond, all protocol observed. Permit me to thank God on your behalf and my own behalf for the gift of our faith and the church of which our father, Peter Cardinal Dery, is an inspiring servant and a leader to us. Having described briefly the process of beatification and canonization, you would realize the involvement of several people in order to make the process a successful one. On top of the tall list is the name of the bishop, the Archbishop petitioner for the cause, Most Reverend Philip Name, his brother bishops of the province, his brother bishops and archbishops of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, the numerous spiritual sons and daughters of Cardinal Dery at home and abroad, patrons, priests, religious men and women, and all you, my dear lay faithful. I believe we are all excited about this process, but let us know that it's not going to come smoothly and without challenges and hurdles for us to clear. But we cannot afford to let this chance slip by. This is the first chance we have in Ghana. Now that the process has been started, let us even be more committed to the cause in all ways possible, and especially spiritually, and at the same time financially. I personally believe that this enterprise of ours will see the light of day by the grace of God. Thank you all for the audience.
For the past 9 days, we have been listening to the legacies of the servants of God in the themes that were proposed for our hearing. A foundation has been established to promote these legacies, and they are in our midst today, and they will be briefing us on the works of this foundation. I have the pleasure to invite Monsignor Alex Bobby Benson from the Diocese of Cathedral, who is a member of this foundation, to brief us. Shall we welcome him with a round of applause? The owner of the car GR 365617 should please move the car because we have an emergency.
So we are still live at Our Lady of Annunciation Cathedral, Tamale. This evening we had a novena in honor of the Cardinal.
Please, Sister Bridget is here, Secretary to the Foundation. Please come forward and do this presentation.
Which after that, the process for which the Cardinal will be canonized was read before the people. There have been a heavy downpour here in Tamale and gave us some distraction during the candlelight procession. But for now, the program continues And we are here to have a presentation from Monsignor Bobby Benson from Koforidua Diocese. But whilst we wait,
of the birth of Cardinal Peter Dery. We've been going to a number of parishes since the 16th of this month. We went to 8 parishes. Today is the 9th. Today is the 9th one, and we are climaxing it all here. Tomorrow, we are going to have what we call the climax celebration, where we would have a mass to climax the whole celebration. But for today, what we did actually was basically to have a candlelight procession. A procession that started from the Jubilee Park. The Jubilee Park. Then we walked all the way to the Ola Cathedral, where we had the final novena to mark the celebration of the Cardinal's birth celebration. So that's basically what has been happening since 16th of this month up to today. So we are hoping that tomorrow the process will go on very well and successfully. As an archdiocese, we are really proud. We are proud to have had this servant of God to be with us as a diocese and as a province, if you want me to say that. So basically, that's how I see what has happened today.
Okay, so I know as a youth, you saw Cardinal before he died.
I didn't meet him personally, no. I didn't meet him personally. I only read and I heard. Actually, he's from my hometown. He's from my hometown, but I didn't meet him personally, one-on-one. All I did was just I read about him, and then I also followed what people have said about him. But to say I had a personal encounter, no, I don't. I didn't have any personal encounter with him. Yes.
All right, so you are still live on Centenary Catholic TV. We are coming to you live from Our Lady of Annunciation Cathedral, Tamale, as we climax the centenary celebration of the birth of Cardinal Dery. We have come to the end of today's evening novena, and tomorrow will continue. So we entreat all of you to keep your phones and your sets on Centenary Catholic TV as we follow the final mass tomorrow. So till we meet tomorrow, have a wonderful evening.
At 5 o'clock, we can start setting up the place. By 7